guys, and welcome to a new video. If you're new here and you don't know me, I am Cristina. I am a freelance illustrator and content creator, and today we're going to draw together. For this video, I am going to be sketching first the Draw This in Your Style from Loish. You know that she recently launched a book, so she celebrated with Draw This in Your Style. You know, guys, all of us love Draw This in Your Style and this type of challenges because we can learn a lot other people's technique, and also it's very helpful if you are suffering from art block and you don't need, you don't want to think a lot about what to draw. I start this sketch and the first version of it being very similar to what Loish's style is, more painterly, more playing with the colors and sculpting with colors. But soon I realized that I didn't like it, what I was doing, and start again making the clean sketch and painting the base colors in Procreate. What you're seeing right now is a time-lapse of this drawing before I start painting it like in live. Let's go to Procreate and start painting the rest of the illustration. Normally a lot of you guys ask me about my painting system, and all of you, or not all of you, but the majority of you ask me about why I made like a first layer with all the silhouette of the drawing in the same color and then just paint over with the all layers, because I know, guys, there's a lot of different ways to draw and all of them are very legit and correct to do, because obviously it depends on your style and how you feel when you draw and how it's easy to you. For some people it is easy to draw in the same layer. For me, I think it's easier to draw in different layers because I always like to have the control to change the colors, the lining. I also I'm a person that I always changing things around once I paint. So if I work in the same layer, I think my painting technique or my painting system, it's going to be super slowly because it's very difficult to change things that they are already done and merged. I always say here that if you are working in commissions or working for other people, I always suggest to work in different layers, because this way, if you have to make any changes, it's more easy to do than if you have all merged and you have to be selecting colors and redoing things. So it's going to make your process more easier to do. That's why if you see there is a speed painting, you see that I am working with a lot of layers. Also, I wanted to tell you about my brushes. I use my brush pack, the Back to Basics brush pack that it's available on Gumroad for this illustration. I have a different sort of brushes, but basically I work with the ink for the outlining, for blocking the shapes. And also I was working with the wash round. I guess it's a wash round, guys. I don't remember. To create like this different shading on the skin and also the blush. I think I use this for like coloring. And for the sketch, I am using the all-time clean sketch that is also available in the sketch brush pack for Procreate. At the beginning, I didn't decide to make this illustration that way. As you see in the first time lapse, you see that I had another type of a sketch, and also I was planning another type of coloring, more focused on a painterly way and more similar to Loish style. I am a very fan of Loish, also Patreon from Loish, and I learned a lot about the painterly technique, and by painterly technique I mean like sculpting with colors and using colors that they are already on the illustration. So that was my first thought, but it's true that in the process of sketching and painting like this first sketch or first drawing, I realized that I wasn't happy with the results. So that's why I decided to sketch again. make a second clean sketch from the base sketch that I had, the rough sketch, and ended up with this illustration. Right now, I am adding some freckles, and also I did all the shadows for the skin. Normally, I like to use like purples and blues for shadowing. I think they make like different color combination than working with regular, with similar tones. Also, again, guys, this is very personal taste. It didn't mean that you have to do it with blues or with purples. You can use whatever you like to. So there's no only one mode to make it. A lot of people and other artists have their own systems. So in my case, I work with purples. But I think in this case, I use like a very similar tone to the skin because I think it's too red for being a blue or purple. One of the things that challenged me more of this Draw This in Your Style challenge is all the glowing and color combinations that have. These purples and reds and pinks, they are not in my regular color palette. So I think that's why I really enjoy playing with it and trying to keep like the symphony of colors working well and make it in my style. I think it was the rough part of it. Right now I'm working in the air. Air is one of the areas that I really love to do. Regular air took me about 5 layers to do. I mean, I have the base color, then I have the strands, shadows, and then highlights. This time I had to do extra layers because it was very difficult to achieve this effect and I needed a lot of layers. In the end, I was happy of the result. I really wanted to have like darkened areas, like very darkened areas, to have contrast with the clear areas and lighted areas. Now it's time to think about the lining. Here is where the first layer I made at the beginning, the first silhouette of the illustration came in the game. I made a duplicate of this layer and then put it on top and fill it with the color you want. In my case, I ended up with the orangey thing, but you can use a purple, you can use a green or wherever. And this layer, it's going to be the base of our shadowing. Guys, painting is like a process. You have the sketch, you have the color, the base colors, the adding details. And the last step is like the rendering. It's when you start adding some light. You are making like this illustration have volume and all this stuff. At that point, I leave the shadow for later and I start making like the bubbles and the fish. This is also very common in me, like first make the character and have it more or less painted, leaving the lining for after, having all the illustration. And I have to say, I'm not very good drawing animals, and this fish was really challenging. Also because I wanted to have like this movement feeling that has lowish fish. I think in the end I had something that I really like it. I'm not going to say that it's the best one, obviously, but well, I think we can see a fish there. Now it's the turn for the bubbles. Again, I was checking on lowish bubbles and they are like very blurred. So I wanted to maintain the same feeling, and you will see me, guys, erasing a lot because I really love to make shapes using the eraser, And now I am adding some highlights to the character, the main character. At that point, I see more or less how it's looking the illustration. It's not still finished, but I know that I need to rearrange some things. For example, I can see that I need more darker in the air. So I just go to the layer and adjust the color, or I make it darker if I need it. And now, once I have more or less tuned, it's time to start adding the final lights. Here I'm creating like the bouncing lights. I guess from the bubbles, I don't know exactly, but they are purple, so I'm creating like these lights. For doing this, sometimes I use the add blending mode and then I copy again the same layer and make a duplicate of the layer and use the overlay. That depends on the color I use, but in this case I think I did it this way because I really want it to be like very purple, you know, like this pink purple. And I continue making like highlights. You see me erasing, blurring, because I'm not a very fan of super hard highlights. So sometimes it really costs me to do that. And now I'm adding like the final touches of lilacs. And basically at that point I have the illustration almost done. You can see me go through the blending modes. And also, guys, this is something I really say to my patrons. You have to experiment with these tools. You have to use different blending modes and see how they look in case you like what you see. Don't get attached to what other people do. Just experiment a lot and see if you like what you see. I think this is the only way to find your own voice while drawing. And yeah, at that point I have the illustration more or less done. I made some lines, some darker lines in the air because I think I needed more darkness. And now what I'm doing is creating a new file because I run out of layers, I have to say it. And in this new file I just copy and paste the full illustration and tune the highlight and the saturation and the hue to get a mood that I really like. And after doing that, basically my illustration is done. You can add some effects here. I'm making some blur in the air. Also, I'm making some Gaussian blur effects in some parts of the body because I really like this movement feeling. And that's all, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you find something useful here. And if you want to see more videos like this, give a thumbs up so this way I can see you like this type of content. And say that, guys, see you again in the next video and wish you a nice week. Bye bye.